Hello, everyone. Welcome to Heartlines. This is our space where we discuss everything relationship and love. And I'm your host, Franca. Tonight on the show with me, I have Precious. She is supposed to be on the show, but he's not here yet. I heard there's a really, really heavy downpour outside. Precious, can you hear me? Hello, Precious. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
I think I was beginning to think you were in Lagos, and then this weather for two don't they affect some kind small things going on? As you know, they respond.
Weather for two.
Weather for
No,
two,
no,
serious
weather
weather
for
for
two.
two.
Pregnancy.
The rain is really, really bad. You know. Precious, how now? Long weekend, long holiday.
Yes, so long holiday. I had time to rest, but I also, of course, activity must be now. So
How was your
we
Easter?
balled and we rested.
Do you
It
know
was good.
now I did think. You know that last time you said that when we asked you when you dey go knack, you said na next week. So now we dey think I'm saying now this Easter period. Thinking about it now.
How you take no? You
I
see,
just
he enter
I
for
just
me.
he enter for you. I just calculate am now. Say okay, that's what Precious was talking about. Say she want go knack Easter period. I call the calculator. I say okay,
And
sharp
they
girl.
tell you,
How far are you there?
I'm good. I'm good.
Okay, so tonight on the show, we're looking at the impact of extravagant weddings on relationship.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think this is from the wedding that happened, a few days. Did you see Priscilla's wedding, Yabojo's daughter's wedding?
Yes. So
Talk of
yes.
like talk of the
So
town. It was a massive event, like 2 days straight on. So we're
and that, thank
discussing.
God you said it was an event. Yes, it was
No,
more
but
than a wedding.
it was it was the wedding of the year. Like I was proud of her, but then I felt it's something that we should discuss and is it good? Is it bad? Things like that. So what are your thoughts?
Well, it depends on the two people involved. If both are the type of people who like loud things, I've seen a couple where while doing premarital counseling, the type of wedding they would want to have was one of the things they talked about. And the lady was on I want a small ceremony, I don't want a lot of people, just something small. And the man was like, no, it has to be, my friends have to come, we must rent hall, we must do this. So it actually depends on the couple in question. If they like loud things and they can afford it, go for it. But if
Okay.
it's something that is going to stress you out, you're just doing it for the gram, you're doing it for name, for fame, for people to see that you self follow to do it, then that's not a good thing to do.
Okay, so what we're discussing, the impact of this kind of weddings on the relationship. How does it, so from your experience and couples therapy, does it have like a positive or a negative effect after the wedding, prior to the wedding? How does it affect the marriage or the relationship, sorry?
Well, you know that extravagant weddings means that you got to spend a lot of money.
Okay.
And most often than not, the person doing the spending is always the first person who sits back after the event, after the wedding, to take stock of how much money went down for this wedding. And it can be, the revelation can be overwhelming when they now see the total figure, as opposed to the little monies that was leaving their pockets here and there. Really, it takes a toll because it's going to be, what exactly did I spend all of this on? Was it just for that ceremony that basically lasted less than, like the main ceremony, the main joining, doesn't even take up to 30 minutes. Every other thing is a fanfare. And I've seen couples have huge fights just because all of a sudden the man is now saying, why did we have to spend so and so number of millions, amount on this wedding when we could have just done something simpler? Why was there need for 4 caterers, 10 caterers, all of their ashwebis, the hall? Couldn't we have gotten something small? So yes, it takes a toll on the relationship. And you hear things like, you were just after my money. you don't know how to manage. So if I were to give you money, this is how you will squander it. Things like that actually takes a toll on the relationship.
Okay, so listening to what you just said, I don't understand how that's. I'm trying to process what you just said. Was the guy not part of the planning? So why is he after the wedding? He's saying, "Is that how you spent my money? You after the money? Why did we need 4 caterers? Were those things not discussed prior to the wedding?"
As funny as it may sound, they were discussed. But these
Okay.
things fly over the head of the men. I don't know how it is that they just want to see the figure, the amount in their head. How much does it cost? That's all they are concerned about. They are not concerned about all of the details that go into it. They are not concerned. So sometimes you hear grooms who tell you, or you find out that some grooms didn't even know where the venue is. They didn't meet with any of the vendors. It's the bride that met with the caterer, the event planner, the person who decorated the hall, the people who do the souvenirs, the ushers. Each of these meetings, most times, is attended by only the bride and her friends, or the bride and her mother. The groom just signs the checks. And so when he now sits down to now take stock of all that he spent, it's now like, how did I get to do all of this? Trust me, if the money is there, most times, he won't have an issue. But when some people do it just because, people will spray us, will recoup, then the spraying now did not occur. That they've spent, money still did not come out from that place.
Okay, so I think it's stupid to have a wedding and expect you're having a wedding, you're spending so much money, and in your head you're saying people will spray you and you will use that to recover. I don't understand how that works, because you're not in the mind of the
Franca,
people.
you have no idea. Yes, they plan wedding with other people's pocket.
Yes, because you're not in the mind of those other people. So how do you know they even have the money to spray? But even let's even leave that. So I'm trying to process what you said again, and you said that the man, because in my head I'm thinking, if the man, ideally, but sometimes the situations are not an ideal situation, but I'm thinking that, we're having a wedding and we're having a conversation and we have said, honey, husband, Femi, okay, so this is what we want to do. We'll both sit down to say, this is what we want, right? The man says, I don't want to get involved in the whole budget thing. I don't want to get involved in this thing. I just want to know what the final figure is. So if I'm coming back to my husband to say, this is my husband to be, to say, this is the final figure, I would expect that he would say, okay, maybe a breakdown of, what it entails and all that. And I give you not as much detail, but I give you just, a detail of what it is. And I tell you the final figure of everything we need is 30 million. And then you approve it. Do you understand? I would believe that you have proved 30 million because it's something you can afford. If you cannot afford it, at that point you say, no, I can't do this. That's what I would expect. So if you approve 30 million and it's okay with you, and we have a wedding, and the wedding was fantastic, you still say they spend your money, why would we have issues after the marriage? Why would you start asking me, why did we need 4 caterers? Why did we need 3 caterers? I wouldn't even answer you, because you know what? You left everything for me to handle. And then when I told you the final figure, you were okay with the final figure. You didn't have a problem with it. Do you understand? Was the wedding a success? Yes. It came out really well. Everybody was happy. There was no... So unless after spending 30 million, people said they didn't eat, do you understand? Then you not see the money, then I can understand if we're having a problem. But if I spent the 30 million on the wedding and you saw it, do you understand? It was a very successful wedding. People were happy and everything. Why would we have an issue about it? Precious, are you thinking?
Oh, sorry, I didn't know I was muted. Okay. It's not an ideal situation. So yes, when these men now turn around and start asking these questions, sometimes it throws the women off, because they'll be like, but you were there when I said this, you were there when I said that. At the end of the day, extravagant wedding, two things: you're doing it for you, and also you're doing it for others. You just want to be the talk of the town. You want to be trending. You want to. So you should, like, just like you have said, the man should be able to say, if I'm approving this amount, I shouldn't come back later, especially if the wedding trended. Yes, it was trending. There was Ashwebi, colorful Ashwebi everywhere, media, paparazzi, and all that. The man shouldn't have to come back and start complaining.
Yeah.
But they do, and that is the part that most times we as the women do not understand, because we are like, first of all, you didn't go to these meetings, so you were always busy, but you approved everything I brought to you. So why are you having the change of heart after the wedding, saying that it was too much? Couldn't we have done a smaller ceremony?
Okay.
So from the onset, it's best to say this is what you want, and then you and the woman can now work on your budget together.
Okay, that works. Okay, so Shay is with us. Shay, how far? How are you there?
Yes.
I'm good.
Bele?
Sorry, I'm a bit late. Rain.
I know
I
the
don't
rain.
even
You had
know
to
what's up with
turn
my
back.
car right now, but
Oh, it messed up your car? Oh, so sorry.
yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
Sorry.
But you're good, right?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay. Okay, hey, I can see your fine face now, correct boy. So Shay, please, how was your wedding?
My wedding was great. It was like a carnival. It was fun. It was
Correct,
fantastic. It was in Warri.
correct guy. How much
Yeah,
did
we
you
shut down
spend?
Warri for my wedding.
How much did you spend?
At that time,
Yeah.
so the concept of for me, overspending what you don't have for wedding, I think it doesn't work for me.
Okay.
Because the most important thing for me was to go for honeymoon and have a very good memory with my wife. But nevertheless, we also wanted to have a relatively, you know, big wedding, and but within our budget.
Okay.
So the first thing we did was my wife is from Wari, and the first thing we did was we're not having a Lagos wedding,
Okay.
because if you have a Lagos wedding, number one, it's going to be difficult to work within a specific budget that you
Budget.
have. So we
Okay.
took the party to Warri.
Okay.
Yeah. So by doing just that singular act, at least we cut the expenses by like one third,
Wow.
Okay.
and a all yeah. So the all that you would have normally gotten in Lagos for at that time, say 2.53 million. In Warri, we got that same all for like 900K.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, and it was a very beautiful. It was like at that time, it was one of the biggest halls in Warri. The food was also cheaper. Catering was cheaper, handled by family and friends. And, we did everything within the budget that we wanted to do. And we had a very good wedding, and we didn't overspend. And the most
Good.
important thing was that we were able to get money and save for the honeymoon, which was more important to me than
Then
the actual wedding.
wedding.
But that is
Makes
not to say we didn't. Yeah,
have a
we didn't have.
good
So what we
wedding.
did was, yeah. So what we did was we organized buses in Lagos at certain locations. We had bus in Jibowu. We had bus in Aja.
Okay.
So if you wanted to come, all you needed to do was get to where those
So
buses
the
were,
bus
and they'll bring you straight
yes.
to Warri.
Okay. But
Yeah, so they'll
so
bring you straight to Warri.
did you now provide
Then,
accommodation?
yeah, we provided accommodation
Okay.
for few people.
Okay.
We
Okay.
provided accommodation. We had an hotel where we already had an arrangement, and they
Okay.
gave, it was the Catholic hotel also, and
So
they
they give a
gave
good.
half of the price
Good.
as a discount.
Okay.
Then, my friends that were coming, we had 12 cars in convoy,
Okay.
and those 12 cars had people who wanted to come, like our guys wanted to come. We had 11 people on our train.
Okay.
Wow.
So basically, the 11 people had cars. We had about
Okay.
12, 13 cars in
Okay.
convoy coming from
Okay.
Lagos to Warri. So
Okay.
those 12-person cars picked at least another four people.
Okay. So you had a
So
crowd.
we had so every so we had a crowd. So we took the crowd from Lagos that were our people and we took them to Warri.
Makes sense. Makes
Yeah,
sense.
and it was so crazy that one of my friend who is a pilot was going to come for the wedding,
Okay.
and on that particular day he didn't see a flight going to Warri,
Wow.
and he took night bus. I'm telling you,
Wow.
so crazy. He still uses it to blackmail me till tomorrow,
To
saying
say.
that I risked my life for your wedding. So he finished flying like around 5 p.m. and he went to the park and took night bus to Warri and got to Warri like 1:30, 2
Oh
a.m.
wow.
before the
Wow.
night before the wedding.
You actually risked your life though.
Yeah, yeah. My wedding was fantastic, and most importantly, it was within budget, and we had a lot of fun because we had so many people from Lagos coming. We had so many of our friends coming. We
Okay.
had it was a blast,
Good.
and it went very well.
Okay. So we're
And
saying.
one thing we said to each other was, number one, you're not going to be able to achieve everything you want to achieve. So
Okay.
just lock up after the wedding. Anything that was not done, it was not meant to be done.
Okay.
Like we are not killing ourselves to give you the top of the range alcohol or anything we serve. If you're okay, take it. If you're not okay, please go to your house and go and find something to eat.
Right
You
attitude.
know. But what made
Okay.
it really fun was the fact that we had our people and we partied till dawn,
Yeah.
and it was a
Right.
carnival,
No, but was it
and
that's
everybody had a
that's a
very
good
nice time.
that's a good
Till tomorrow,
attitude.
my friends still talk about it.
That's a good attitude, honesty.
Yes. I
Okay, so
like
but
that their
Sheyi, but
attitude.
Sheyi, you saw the wedding, Yabojo's daughter's wedding, right?
Mm.
What's your take on that wedding?
Mhm. If you have the means, please, if you
Enjoy.
have the means, go all out,
Okay.
splurge. If you have the means and that's what you want, because there's a difference. You like some people have the means, right? And that's not what they want.
Okay.
Some people don't have the means and that's what they want. They don't have the money or the network or the social goodwill Yabojo has, and they want
Okay.
to throw Yabojo's wedding.
Yeah.
That is where there's problem. Do you
Okay.
understand?
Exactly.
Cut your coats according to your material. Do you understand? You
Not your
can
size,
also still have
not even
a
your size
very good.
anymore.
No, no,
Not
no,
your
no
size. Your
material.
size can be bigger than your
Your size,
fabric.
you feel
Your
be
size
so
na
that.
handkerchief. Cut up according to handkerchief.
Okay. I get that.
Uh,
Okay. Okay, so
so yeah, I mean, in comparison, my brother had a smaller wedding. I don't know if you remember. My brother had a wedding for for 700 people.
for what? I think we
I
lost
think
shape.
it's a network.
I think it's a network issue, yes. So I think we lost
Yeah,
Shay.
correct.
Okay, so in all honesty, I agree that it should be about what you want, but then there's pressure, from people. You want to do what every other person is doing. Because the truth is, I don't understand the craze about having to impress people. You know, not just even weddings, parties generally. I don't think you need to over impress or do pass yourself. Do you understand? Because now they work the money. The people who are coming, they're just going to come and eat. Some of them you might not even know because one friend will bring a friend, another friend will invite a friend, another friend will invite a friend. Do you understand? By the time you already have like half of the people at the event, you don't know them. So you just be feeding people
You
you
don't
don't
even
know.
know them.
Yeah, you don't even know them. So you find out you're feeding people you don't know, who don't even care about you at the end of the day. Tomorrow, if your marriage is having issues, those people not concerned with those. Yeah, I go that wedding, no. You don't scatter now. That's what you
They don't
hear.
even remember you.
Exactly. So, like I said, so I know that there are several impacts to this thing. Genuinely, I know that people want to do parties because maybe they want to have a long-lasting memory. They want it to be about what the wife wants. Maybe she's always spoken about having this, having that, you understand, at her wedding. And I know they want to make it about her. They want to play the kind of songs they have always wished for, things like that. So you find out that you're trying to do something that, something you would always remember. And I know a lot of people do that because they don't know what's in marriage. If you know what marriage is, trust me, you will not even want to spend that money, that amount of money on a party because the journey when you enter, I know that I want to call it Israelite journey. I know the journey I want to call it because it is completely different. It's just, you just begin to ask yourself questions. Is this what I did everything for? Because at that point, you want to, it's about you and one person. I would say that I would have spent more time understanding the person more. I would rather have spent more time understanding what marriage is. I already used the money, pay, you understand, to understand. Let them open my brain now, make me understand how to live with someone, how to cohabit with someone, how to love someone regardless of their flaws. Do you understand? That's what I would have spent my time doing than planning a wedding that after that day, nobody cares what happens to me. In all honesty. Because that is what would build my marriage. That's what will make me have a long-lasting marriage. Do you understand?
Yes.
You know, so if I knew what I know now, I got married 20-something years ago. And at that time, okay, money never spoil, but we still wanted, my wedding dress. I wore it just that day. For just that day. 2002, I bought my wedding dress for 100 and something thousand. 2002, and I wore that dress just one day. People said they were hiring dresses, but I didn't want to hire a dress for my wedding. Do you understand? So I bought it on Allen, one of those big stores on Allen at that time. I can't remember the name of where I bought the dress, but I know I bought my dress from Allen, one of the bridal stores. And I can remember that dress was bought for 100 and something thousand naira as at 2002. And precious, that dress, I never wore that dress again. My husband was like,
of course.
Yes, because my husband said, what do you want? Wedding. I said, oh, my dress. My dress has to be fantastic. I wanted the long tail dress and everything. I wasn't into makeup, so I didn't have a makeup artist. I just did my hair. In fact, my chief bridesmaid was my makeup artist, in Iyegbebo. She was my chief bridesmaid, my best friend at that time. She was my best. She has been my best friend from primary school, So I didn't understand. I just wanted a fine dress. My husband wanted an outdoor kind of wedding. At that time, my wedding was in Benin. We had Olive caterers come do my catering. She did my cake and the rest of that. My mom is Yoruba, so you know how Yoruba they do party now and all that. And don't get me wrong, it was fun, but I didn't see anybody at that wedding. This is me being honest. The only person I remember from my wedding, don't get me wrong, it was fun, but I didn't see anybody at that wedding. This is me being honest. The only person I remember from my wedding came to. Do you understand? One of my mom's friends, he's a lecturer, he's late. That's the only person I can remember. My children, my daughter's godfather, Ofuegbu. No, not what's his name? I can't even remember. It was not Ofuegbu. One of those, those are the only people I can remember. I can't remember seeing any of my friends. But guess what? They were at that wedding. Because I was just, everywhere. And after that day, that dress, I didn't eat at that wedding that day. I just remember that, okay, I had my cake for a while because it was fruit cake. We had to keep it for christening, that kind of tradition at that time. And I can tell
Yeah.
you a lot of money was spent. I'm sure a lot of money was spent, and me sitting here right now would say, I don't have regrets about the wedding, don't get me wrong. But I would have invested in us understanding each other. I would have invested more on us understanding, you understand, certain things about marriage that would have impacted more on my marriage than the wedding. And that's what a lot of people don't do. You understand? I like the fact that Sheyi said that he wanted to go for his honeymoon. He was intentional about the honeymoon. But no mind Sheyi, now shag, he just want to go shag. Now,
Yes.
But
Uninterrupted.
uninterrupted. That's that one. I just Sheyi na Sheyi, So, but my point is, we have no right to tell people what to do for their weddings. But then you want to do things that are meaningful. I heard someone say, at this stage, you don't want to do things, she doesn't want to do things that have no impact on her. Whatever it is, if I'm not getting a positive impact, sorry, you're not finding me there. If it's not giving me joy, if it's not giving me happiness, you won't find me there. Which is why I also respect when people say, a big wedding would give me the kind of joy I want. There are people who have always fantasized or dreamt of having an elaborate wedding. So whatever you like, anything when you like, just allow them have that wedding, and that is it for them. Whether the marriage work or you not work, you not consign them. And in the recent times, you find people spending 50 million on weddings, 100 million, and after 1 year, the marriage don't crash.
Yeah.
It happens. So, Precious, as a counselor, is there any value of those big weddings on a marriage? Does it make them closer? Is there any bond? If not, apart from memories and pictures and aesthetics and those things, any other value?
No, basically no, because the very first thing that made them spend that kind of money is they wanted to have an unforgettable experience.
Okay.
An experience that people will talk about for the longest of time.
Okay.
They probably wanted maybe to bring family and friends together, but basically it's because they just want their wedding to be the talk of town. So
Okay.
it's a kind of benefit that is not tangible, so to speak. It's not something that will help them in their marital life. It's just something that will just, you remember that wedding we went to, and that's all. So just an unforgettable experience both for them and for their guests. Other than that, I don't see any other positive impact, because the quality of the wedding has no bearing on the quality of the marriage.
Okay.
It doesn't play any role. You can have a big wedding and the marriage ends in 3 weeks. And you can have a small wedding and the marriage will last. You can have a big wedding and the marriage will still last. You can also have a small wedding and the marriage can end, no short time.
Okay, so for some reason,
we're talking about
for some reason, everything I have just been thinking about are the negative part, because I think it's more. You find out that people are scared to get married because of the bill. There are a lot of people who have been dating for a while, and I can tell you that 80%, or let me not say 80%, a lot of them are still dating because they cannot afford the kind of wedding they want. Financial constraint.
So they should lower their expectations.
Shay, what did you say?
Talk to me about that.
What did you say, Shay? I didn't hear you.
Okay, can you guys hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now. What did you say?
Okay, I said talk to me about that.
Okay.
You know my story now. I dated my wife for 6 years. Partly because I don't get money to it. I don't even get money to it.
So you understand? So because of this thing, you see there's a focus shift. People are no longer focused on their relationship. They're thinking of how, and guess what? I heard a story of someone that her husband gave money for a wedding. The girl go put her for seabet. This whole crypto thing. They don't call off the wedding. Because
She's
yes,
greedy.
I don't understand. What do you mean by she's greedy? She won't do Lagos party.
Sharp, sharp.
No, it's not. So you'll be shocked that maybe things don't go up. The guy had 20 million or whatever. And she said, oh, they don't promise her. Say if she put him there, he go give more money. And she wanted to have a wonderful wedding. In fact, when that's era, I know someone, close person, if the guy is watching, the guy will know say that him they talk. The money he wanted to use for his wedding was inside the MMM. Till tomorrow when we talk, he said, Franca, I don't know as I take marry. Because MMM carry the money run. You know? So, there's a lot of, and then there's a lot of problems in the sense that expectations, you now have unrealistic expectations.
Yeah.
There's so many unrealistic expectations. You see the decorations they do for the halls and everything, and then you go sit down. Social media has made it so bad that if you not fit get this kind of decoration, you not soji, you not join. And the wedding now, even the ashwebi, at the talk say I buy a wedding dress about 100 and something thousand at that time. People are spending 5 million on dresses right now, 10 million on dresses.
Equivalent of other 100,000 now. Oh yeah.
See, I don't understand. I really don't understand. Help me understand it, Shay. Because you are a guy. You not get guy whenever marry because of money.
Honestly, we plenty we no marry. I don't marry I did date for 6 years. We do boyfriend and girlfriend for 6 years. Well, I don't get number one, I don't get money do any kind marriage. Number two, I don't even get money put woman for house. So yes, this financial burden of marriage is a lot. But one thing that I think everybody should aspire to be is what comes after marriage. And even if you guys want a big wedding and you're ready to get into depth for it, know what you're getting into. Because if that is what you really want, and say una go rough farm, then please go ahead and chop your gbese and take your, chop it with your chest. Because um, like I said, the most important thing is both of you and your happiness and long-term goals. Do you understand? And everything is planning. If you have a plan that, babe, we want a big wedding, we go chop this basic and we would ride it after a year, 2 years, we pay up our basic, giving birth to kids. Who would sacrifice to go for holidays, who would sacrifice to go for destination. If that is what ticks your box, please, I'm a proponent of go for it. If you have 100 million to spend on a wedding and you decide that you want to buy 10 million naira dress, my guy, go
Enjoy.
ahead. The issues I always have, yes, if you're ready to chop the gbese and you know that, okay, we are going to enter gbese 1 year, 2 years, we go pay them off, then we'll start our life. But that wedding, must get them. Please, if that is what you want, go ahead and get it. And when you are drinking the gari, know that you are drinking the gari
At least it's for
for
something
the
you
wedding
enjoyed.
you have. You bring out your pictures, you
Yeah.
laugh. Yes, you bring out the pictures, you laugh, you go back to your gari, you soak up, you know, you get because ultimately for me, right? I'm a very big supporter of do what ticks your box, do what makes you happy. Because if you're doing it for other people, that you have a problem. Do you understand? If you are doing it for other people, that is where the problem is. Because other people will come. After that day, 90% of people came for your wedding. After that day, don't remember
Exactly.
anything about your wedding. Do you understand?
Yeah.
So if you are doing it to satisfy what the society or you are trying, to be in one kind of place, if you're not doing it for yourself, you're getting into it for the wrong reasons. Because by the time, you know, the Gary soaking of that thing comes. That marriage that you spend so much,
I think we have lost Shay again.
can
Network.
you,
Okay.
it can get this in 3 months.
Okay. Oh yes, it does. So let's quickly go on a break. Let's
Are
let's
we?
quickly go on a break. When we come back, we'll continue with this. Let's quickly go on a break.
Stay tuned. Heartlines will be right back.
This season on Heartlines, we're committed to making a difference in people's lives. So Heartlines, in partnership with Reda Consult, is offering 12 free slots of counseling every quarter for people in need of professional counseling. Additionally, we're taking on 2 pro bono cases for individuals navigating a challenging divorce. To participate, please send an email to counsel@vedaconsult.com with your story. Our team will carefully review all submissions and will contact all the shortlisted candidates. Heartlines is live Mondays to Fridays at 10 p.m. So engage with us.
Thanks for staying with us on Heartlines.
Please note that you can share your story with us via our WhatsApp line 08190 384 or join in the conversation live. You can call 07025007749 or 07014242420. And please remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel at Official Upgrade TV. So back to the conversation, impact of extravagant weddings on relationship. Sheyi, so this whole extravagant thing is not just on the spending, okay? You know there are traditions that requires you to spend plenty money as well. I think everybody knows about the Igbo tradition. But Sheyi, when you were getting married, your wife from Warri, did you have to spend so much on traditional rites and all that? Sheyi's network.
No, I didn't have to.
Okay.
And glory be to God, because that's part of the reasons why we are in this marriage today. I didn't have to spend. I'm even ashamed to call their dowries about 120 naira or something like that.
Okay.
But we had to buy some things, customary gifts for the family, and honestly, it wasn't a big deal.
Okay.
Um,
Precious, do you have couples that after the wedding,
things we did at that time.
okay. Sheyi, I lost you, but I didn't hear what you said because your network was bad, so I practically didn't hear what you said. Precious, can you hear me? Network.
Yeah, I can.
Okay, so
Did you hear
Precious.
me?
Okay, Sheyi, I said I lost you.
Yeah.
I didn't hear anything you said, so that's why I'm going back to Precious. Okay, so Precious, do you have couples that after having a very big party, this so-called extravagant wedding,
Okay.
and they
Okay,
have
so
issues?
basically it was
Sheyi, are you saying something? Precious, can you hear me? Precious, can you hear me?
Okay, yes. So,
Okay, so
your
Precious,
question.
yes, so do you have couples that after their whole party, big party, extravagant wedding, and a few months down the line, they're having issues because of the party? Have you had such?
Yes.
Okay, can you share?
I've had several couples like that, but the one that comes to mind is the one that happened a long time ago, and it was more or less after the wedding. They had a family meeting, so the husband and his people had a meeting. The wife and her people had a meeting, and it was presumed that the monies that were allocated to the wife was not properly disbursed. Apparently, during the wedding, the groom's family took down notes on the things that were not done correctly. Oh, the food didn't go round. Oh, we found out from the caterer how many plates of food she was paid for. We found out this, we found out that, and it was a whole messy situation trying to reconcile them, because the wife is like, look, I paid for these things, I don't know what you're talking about. As far as I'm concerned, the occasion went well. And the husband is like, no, the way it's going, I think you must have used that money for something, so you have to refund.
Like,
so you
seriously.
can imagine that kind of an ugly situation, messy situation, when a couple is supposed to be spending more time as husband and wife, and they are busy squabbling over the financial burden that
Okay, so this
they
is
had to go
crazy.
through.
This is actually crazy because I don't get it. So why they already had issues before the marriage? Because if they didn't have issues before the marriage, I don't see any reason why your in-laws are going to ask vendors how much they were paid and what they were paid for. It doesn't make any sense. Or don't you think so?
Yeah, I get that.
Okay.
But that's the kind of things that you expect to see at events. People poke nose where they are not supposed to poke nose, look for faults where there are no faults.
Okay, so maybe
So
they
it now
wanted to do
depends
the
on the
wedding.
couple in question to say, look, we're not going to listen to anybody. The most important thing is we, the couple, enjoyed our day. If you, the guests, did not enjoy it, then, well,
Sorry.
you can enjoy the next one.
So I actually think there are trust issues between the husband and wife, because really, even if the in-laws came to say, oh, she didn't pay, and the man said, no, she paid, I don't see why that's a problem, which is why I think they have a fundamental problem, which was there before the marriage, if you ask me. But how did they solve that?
Oh, they had to do, like I said, it was really messy, but of course, the bride happened to be a very detailed person. So all of the receipts, all of the contracts she signed, everything was put out. And you know how it is with Nigerian weddings. Except you're really strict on attendance, trust me, you will plan for 200 persons and 500 people will show up at your wedding.
So what happened?
It's not something that if you're,
okay,
you know, then she ended up, she showed that the money was well spent, but I mean, the people were more than what they budgeted for. So that's not something she could have controlled.
Okay, so what now happened? What did the in-laws now do? Because at that point, if Nami be the girl, at that time trouble will come.
No, we had to calm her down and tell her, look, the most important thing was for her and her husband not to start off, quarreling about money.
No, that's not the most important thing.
Had money?
Precious, that's not the most important thing. Precious, that's not the most important thing. Yeah. The most important thing is for her husband to trust her.
So anyway, bottom line was, he found out that she didn't do what she was accused of doing. And that's the thing. If you're not involved in the planning, you will, how would I put it now? It would be as if somebody cheated you. So I like, you see when Shay was talking, he kept saying things that made me realize that he was actively involved. So if you're talking about money for fuel, hotel, PD, this, he can say, yes, this is what we need. I don't think we need this. I don't think babe, can we forget about this one and do this? And he mentioned those things. We see men who just throw money and then all they want to do is show up on the day of the wedding.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think there are men like that.
I even have something to share.
Okay, yeah, Shay, yeah, we're listening.
One thing that made me even trust and respect my wife more was planning for our wedding. I'm not kidding, no. This girl brought out a spreadsheet, right? We had a spread.
Wow.
That costs. There were lists, there were costs. There were lists, there were costs. And every weekend when we were together, we'll sit down and we go through everything. And we knock this one off. We look for who can fit this budget. We call the person, we put them in. We look who can do it for free.
Mm-hmm.
babe, we
She move out of
knocked
that house.
up and we were
Yeah,
doing
network is
budgeting
Mm-hmm.
from planning. And after people were like, who was your event planner? Do you
Former.
spreadsheet to plan their
Former.
wedding?
Mm-hmm.
Hello?
Shay, we can't hear you.
the network is
My
really
network is
breaking
so
on your
bad today.
end.
That's the problem with big man. That's the problem with big man house.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Yeah.
Okay. Did did you hear the later part of the story?
Yeah, you said you guys were knocking it off. If somebody could do it for free, you tick it and, like that. So you guys were ticking from the spreadsheet. It's people that could work with your budget, right?
Yeah.
Yes. And eventually, after the wedding, when people came, who's your wedding planner? Your wedding was so great. Your wedding was so this. Who did you use? We gave them spreadsheets of what we used to plan our wedding. And three of our friends used that same spreadsheet.
Oh, wow.
In fact, somebody still used it 5 years after.
Wow.
That was a good
That was a good.
one.
That's a
Now,
good one. That's
that
a really good
time,
one.
I know say I marry correct.
Kí ló ń ṣe eléyìí? So the one where the woman go hire event planner, you not marry correct. Okay, so but I know the part where men don't like to get involved, I totally agree with that because I think they just feel it's a burden on them. I don't have the power for these figures. So Shay was part of it because that time Shay not get money. Now that Shay has money, I hear him talk every time now. Oh, please, how much is this? Oh, no, I don't want to bother about that. Just go sort it out. That's how Shay behaves now. Shay, now, will you sit down with spreadsheets?
We'll probably still sit down with spreadsheet because everything are budgeting now. You know, say your taste go down high, but the money safe go down high. So you go see, no how for this life, you go still sit down with spreadsheet.
But not the way you did that
You
time
know,
now. Because I know, say, right now, you they are source where. So part of, I don't know what's wrong with Shay's network. So honestly, listening to Shay now, in all honesty, Precious, I also think that it depends on where the couples are at that time. Do you understand? If you're not, you understand, you're not as buoyant as you want to be, you want to take your time to do certain things. So the part of outsourcing is, okay, I feel like I can afford to outsource, so I outsource it. Because trust me, Shay, you see what you and Ufoma did there? Now, stress for some people. Do you understand? Because getting vendors, speaking to everybody, you understand, and still having to juggle your job and all that. So, but again, if you know that you cannot afford to outsource that service, then you sit down and do it yourself.
You sit down and do it, yes.
Yeah, you sit down and do it yourself. But the part of the part where I
but
think,
Franca, you know something?
say you live in Banana Island and you don't have network. Shay, please pack out of Banana Island. Precious.
Yes.
Yeah, so we just have a minute. You want to say something before we go?
Yes, as it has to do with planning an extravagant wedding, please communicate with your partner. Shay has given us a very good example. Men, sit down, even if it's all of the things, at least have a look over so that you can be able to see where you want to spend this money on. You might not have the time to go through all of the details we have, but at least an overview should be presented you to see. And if you have an open communication, you'll be able to, these are priority, these are the things we can do, these are the things we should concentrate on. And the things you don't need to concentrate on, you can easily knock them off, just so that there will be no strain on the relationship after the ceremony.
Okay, so for me, I totally understand that people want to have fantastic memories from extravagant weddings, to the ambience, the aesthetics, and the rest of it. If you can afford it, why not? Do you understand? Mukuna shall not quarrel after the marriage. But the truth is, you want to do something that would actually impact on your wedding. You want to spend time, get to understand the person. Do things that would help your marriage. Not things that after the marriage you're looking at yourself and say, why did we do this? Why? You don't want to do things that you regret eventually, And then the downsides to these extravagant marriages are even more than, you understand, the advantages, because the financial constraint, the unrealistic expectations, from maybe both parties. Why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? And it puts the men, you understand, it just puts them off sometimes. Sometimes they don't even want to get married. Like, I know that there are a lot of young couples who are running from being married or getting married now because they think they can afford a wedding. And trust me, money should not be a criteria why two people should not be together. If they feel that they can work together, they can live together, survive with what they have, why not? You can grow. But this time, I think this Gen Z world, poor people not they marry again. Because I know, in fact, Peter, one of my producers, has been mentioning to me that to marry this period hard, because you have to sustain a family and all that. I think we should be realistic when doing certain things. But like I said, if you can afford it, why not? But if you can't, please, it's okay to have a realistic wedding. Cut according to your budget, not your size. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.